Detroit Den through and three. Welcome back to another Detroit Lions episode. I have to confess a sin. I have to be a man of integrity. That's what I strive to be. I have said several times, and we've even had someone ask us on a live show if I watch any other podcasts, and my answer was no. For the reason being that I don't want to subconsciously or accidentally say anything similar to what another YouTuber, or podcaster, or radio network, whatever you want to call them. I don't want to say anything similar or steal content. But this morning at work, I stumbled across a video from Woodward Sports, and this is not a throw shade video. They were talking about a guy from ESPN. What's his name? Seth Walder. Listen, I'm not here to talk shit about Woodward. I'm actually standing with Woodward. I saw the episode. It was about 15 to 18 minutes or something like that. And it was talking about this guy from ESPN who gave the Lions draft class, free agency, their whole offseason a terrible grade. So I'm standing with Woodward United. When we're talking about the Detroit Lions, I'm standing with him when it comes to this. What this guy from ESPN, Seth Walder, what he wrote, I read his article. I have ESPN Plus. I have it for free. So I actually went and read the article, and I'm going to just give my opinion. When he says that the Detroit Lions offseason, their grade should be a C, I don't know. I guess what I really try to do and what I think I'm good at, maybe I'm not, is putting my bias aside and giving a realistic, honest opinion about the Detroit Lions. There's a reason the Detroit Lions are considered to have one of the best rosters in the NFL. This past offseason has been a huge contributing factor to that title. Do they hand out titles and awards for having the best roster? No, I get it. I understand. But we're in the conversation for a reason, because Brad Holmes has whipped up some magic since he's been here. So to say that the Detroit Lions should get a C for their entire offseason, I think we're in the top 5, if I'm being honest. Now, do I have a list of every single team's offseason moves? No. Am I very familiar with what the Detroit Lions have done? Yes. We went to the NFC Championship game. We knew what our flaws were. We knew what our weaknesses were. Brad Holmes went out and said, shove it down your throat. I'm going to make it a strength, like he always does. To give this offseason a C, let me just start with saying this. Our passing defense last year was absolutely atrocious. We all know this. We got shredded the last down the stretch in the season and into the playoffs, yardage wise. What did Brad Holmes do? He went out and got not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 defensive backs: Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Amik Robertson. And those are 4 guys who are going to see considerable playing time. You've literally just picked up 4 possible starters in your secondary, moving Brian Branch to safety. We're going to be rotating guys in and out. You've literally picked up and traded for 4 guys who are immediately going to make an impact on your team. You want more of an impact? What else did he do? He went out and he signed Marcus Davenport, signed DJ Reader. That is 6 players on your defensive line. 5 of them are probably going to be starters. Someone's going to be rotating into that defensive backfield. How can you look me dead in the eyes and tell me that a team that went to the NFC Championship game was ahead 24-7 at halftime, collapsed? I get it. We don't need to go down that road. I know it happened. Detroit Lions fans, we know what happened. We go out and we add 5 to 6 starters on defense, and you're going to give that right there alone a grade of a C. Boy, I don't know if ESPN could have the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers any further down their throat, and I'm just going to leave it at that. That's as clean as I can make it. I try to keep this a family show, but if you know what I'm referring to, you know what I'm referring to. So I don't understand the hate, and maybe this is just because Detroit's been so bad for so long that the national media just doesn't know what to do. I just don't know what ESPN is really looking at when it comes to the Detroit Lions, because I have a hard time in my head. Literally, I'm just racking it as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I'm having a hard time picturing a team who had a better offseason. And then we don't even have to mention our draft. The only player I really mentioned from the draft was Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. The rest are all mostly free agents. You want to go into our O-line? You want to talk about our O-line, Seth Walder? Re-signed Graham Glasgow, probably one of the most underrated. I had him as my Detroit Lions MVP last year. The way he performed, the way he stepped up, playing multiple positions on the interior offensive line, either guard position and center, there's just extreme value there for 3 years, $20 million, close to $7 million a year. That's nothing for a guard / center who can play anywhere you need them, anytime you need them. Oh, what else did we do on that offensive line? Gave a long-term contract to Penei Sewell, the best tackle in football. It's not close. It's not a debate. We're not here to talk about who could be better. We don't need to. It's Penei Sewell. End of story. Oh, what else did you do? We lost Jonah Jackson. Let's go ahead and upgrade that position with Kevin Zeitler, Pro Bowler. Oh, what else did we go ahead and do on the offensive line? Dan Skipper, not a starter. Solid swing tackle, still eligible. Comes into those jumbo formations and gives us that extra blocking offensive lineman. Listen, I don't know. I think Dan Skipper would be a starting guard on a lot of teams. Tackle, I don't know. Maybe he might be able to start for a couple teams at tackle, but him choosing to stay in Detroit is just like our offensive line had a better offseason than most teams did as a whole. Like, what did the Dallas Cowboys do this offseason? Re-sign Zeke Elliott? Woo, who cares? To say that our offseason should get a grade of a C. He went on in his article and he said that his biggest issue was the Goff extension, that the money is going to hinder the team. It's 4 years. It's a 4-year contract. We didn't lock Jared Goff up till the year 2063. It's 4 more years. What are we talking about here? Like, what are we actually doing at ESPN besides giving monstrous contracts to Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith and sending a lot of your employees out the door because you can't afford to keep them because you're paying a handful of guys top dollar? Like, maybe ESPN should just switch to, sticking to Disney or whatnot. I don't know. I don't understand. So him saying that his biggest issue was the Jared Goff extension and going on in the article and saying that Jared Goff is not a top 10 quarterback, smack in the face. Absolute smack in the face if you're a Detroit Lions fan. That's our quarterback, as Terrell Owens would say. That is my guy. Jared Goff can get it done. He's not a top 10 quarterback. Name 10 quarterbacks who are better. Patrick Mahomes. I'll give you that. That's a gimme. That's a slam dunk right there. That's a no-brainer. What's Josh Allen done that Jared Goff hasn't? He might be a sexier pick. What's Lamar Jackson done? Won an MVP? Does that matter to you? I want a Super Bowl. I don't care about individual awards. What's Joe Burrow done? He's been to a Super Bowl. So has Jared Goff. Should have been to 2. What are we dealing with here? Like, okay, Jared Goff's not the sexiest quarterback. I get it. We live in Detroit. We live in the Midwest. We're not a market town. We're not New York. We're not LA. Hell, we're not even Chicago. And we're damn sure aren't the Dallas Cowboys. The Detroit Lions have gone 0-16 in the past 20 years. We've also made it to more NFL or NFC championships than the Dallas Cowboys. So the media keeps pressing them and the Packers. And I just don't understand what we have to do to get a little smidge of respect. And Seth Walder, I had honestly never even heard of you until today. So shout out to Woodward. Like I said, I broke my rule. I was sitting at work, clicked on YouTube. I was going to do a little editing. And the very first thing I saw was their thumbnail or their title of something about ESPN. And it caught my attention and it drew me in. That's what a thumbnail and a title is supposed to do. So bravo to you guys. Hats off. I stand with you when it comes to this. Detroit, we got to unite against this monstrous media company, ESPN, because we just do not get the love we deserve. And on top of that, I loved how Woodward brought out, how we showed up for the NFL draft. Detroiters show up. We show up for our teams, man. We're dying for a championship. Let that championship come in 2024 with the Detroit Lions Super Bowl. This city will go absolutely nuts. So bravo to you guys at Woodward. I stand with you on this one. Leave a comment. Stick around. I'll be back later with another show, guys.